Do you think hell is where life ceases to exist? No. Hell is where people are forced to live, even when there's nothing left worth living for. The world isn't just glowing cities full of lights or picture-perfect streets. Beneath the shiny surface, there are places that make you ask, how can anyone survive here? I'm not talking about war zones or natural disasters. I'm talking about actual cities, with people, routines, and systems, yet trapped in spirals of chaos, pollution, and neglect. Have you ever imagined living in a floating slum on sewage water, or sleeping under a billion-dollar city's overpass, unsure if you'll wake up the next morning? In this video, Eagle Discovery takes you to 30 of the harshest places on Earth. Not to spread fear, but to show you this. Wherever there are people, there is life, even if that life is barely hanging on. Hanoi, Vietnam, a symphony of honks and patience. In Gaza, there's nothing left to lose, except life itself. What was once a cultural center is now an endless battlefield. Streets have become craters, hospitals serve as morgues, and schools are shelters for war orphans. Electricity runs for a few hours a day, if you're lucky. Clean water is a luxury. People can't leave. Gaza is a massive open-air prison, sealed off from both sides. In the dark, under the hum of drones, over 2 million people continue to exist, but don't really live. Here, hell isn't beneath the ground. It's right on its surface. Site Soleil, Haiti, a tropical hell. Imagine a place where the air is so thick, you could almost bite into it. That's Lahore, nicknamed the air pollution capital of the world. In winter, the entire city disappears into a toxic fog, a mix of fine dust, industrial fumes, trash fires, and fossil fuels. Kids get lung diseases before they can even read, and the elderly learn to live with gas masks. Spending just a few days here means inhaling pollution equal to smoking 50 cigarettes per day. Lahore isn't just a city, it's a giant gas chamber, with no emergency exit. Kibera, Kenya, where dreams dissolve in mud. A capital with over 30 million residents, but barely any blue skies. New Delhi isn't just polluted, it's gasping for air. The city frequently tops the charts as one of the world's most polluted. Its AQI levels regularly hit hazardous zones. Some days, you can't even see a few feet ahead through the smog. Schools shut down, airports halt flights, and hospitals overflow with patients suffering from respiratory and heart issues. In Delhi, crime isn't the biggest threat. Every breath you take is. In New Delhi, air doesn't keep you alive. It slowly kills you. Ciudad Neza, Mexico, a forgotten city buried in dust. From space, you might mistake it for a natural hill, but it's not. It's garbage. Ghazipur landfill stands over 65 meters tall, the height of a 22-story building, and it keeps growing. Over 2,000 tons of waste arrive daily, with little to no treatment. Its decay releases methane, a highly flammable gas, turning the heap into a ticking bomb. In 2017, it exploded, killing locals. The poor live at its base. Children play near black streams seeping from the trash. The stench clings to every strand of hair, every inch of skin. This isn't a landfill. It's an ecological bomb, counting down by the day. When a city discards something, someone else makes a living from it. In the shadows of megacities, communities survive on what society throws away: trash, poisoned land, unbreathable air, or abandoned buildings. Orangi town, Karachi, Pakistan, a nightmare within a major city. In the heart of one of Asia's richest and busiest cities lies a maze of tin roofs, cracked cement walls, and alleys so narrow sunlight can't reach them. Dharavi is a slum, yet it functions like an independent economy. There are recycling plants, workshops, tea stalls, even tiny banks. Nearly 1 million people cram into just 2.1 square kilometers, without sewage systems and with rationed clean water. It's a self-organized society beneath the official one, where you'll still see smiles, though the stink never goes away. Dharavi, Mumbai, India, a city within a city but never acknowledged. On the outskirts of Karachi, Pakistan's most populated city, sits a neighborhood forgotten by both government and time. Orangi town was once a beacon of hope for the poor. Now it's ruled by crime, ethnic strife, and disease. With no official drainage system, locals dig their own trenches, where many children have drowned. This isn't a neighborhood anymore. It's a terrifying reminder of what happens when a city grows too fast and cares too little. Ghazipur, India, a garbage mountain on the verge of eruption. Welcome to Ciudad Neza or Neza, once a lake, now a concrete labyrinth with no map. From afar, Neza is a blotchy gray stain on the edge of Mexico City. Up close, it's thousands of homes stacked without planning. No parks, no decent hospitals, no order. Crime is part of everyday life. Sometimes the police are the problem, not the solution. Here, if you're born into the dust, your whole life might be buried in it. New Delhi, India, a suffocating megacity. Just a few kilometers from the modern city center of Nairobi lies another world you won't see on postcards, Kibera, one of Africa's largest slums. People here live in huts made of mud, scrap metal, and plastic sheets. No stable electricity, no running water, and communal toilets shared by hundreds. After each rain, the neighborhood floods with mud and sewage. Yet kids still laugh, still play. They don't need the American dream. They just want a meal that doesn't come from a trash pile. Lahore, Pakistan, a city of smog and suffocation. Haiti, an island nation in the Caribbean, is known for blue seas and sunshine. But in its capital, Port-au-Prince, you'll see another side. Cité Soleil, a slum dubbed the most dangerous place in the Western Hemisphere. There are no police, no law, only armed gangs and jungle rules. Violence is a daily routine. Children play next to unburied bodies. Streets are slick mud paths, and after dark, fire is the only light. This isn't the result of natural disaster. It's the outcome of neglect so deep, despair has become a way of life. Not every place that still runs is running in the right direction. Some cities operate like engines without brakes. They move forward, but no one dares ride them. Gaza, Palestine. Hell is no longer a metaphor. You don't need Google Maps here. You need nerves of steel. In Hanoi, traffic follows no rules, except instinct. Motorbikes weave like ants. Cars, bikes, and pedestrians compete for space. Traffic lights are more like suggestions. Yet somehow, everyone still gets where they need to go. This isn't chaos. It's Vietnam's version of urban survival art. Tokyo, Japan. Organized chaos or over-organization. Shibuya crossing can make your head spin. Thousands crossing at once, from all directions, as if no one ever bumps into anyone. Everything in Tokyo is hyper-programmed. Trains arrive to the second. Crowds line up like a choreographed dance. But don't be fooled, this perfection has a price. Every day repeats in a suffocating loop. Mental pressure creeps into every offbeat moment. Here, chaos isn't on the street. It's in your mind. La Paz, Bolivia, where breathing alone is exhausting and living is extraordinary. Built over 3,600 meters above sea level, La Paz isn't for the faint-hearted, literally. Thin air, steep terrain, and chaotic traffic in a rocky valley, it feels like the city resists human survival. Yet life continues, people endure. Even though every breath is a battle, La Paz doesn't function like a city, it defies that definition. And wins. Lagos, Nigeria, a megacity burning from within. Lagos is one of the fastest-growing cities in the world, and where everything is overloaded, unreliable power, water shortages, traffic jams that last for hours daily. Roads are a labyrinth, and drainage systems barely exist. Yet 20 million people live, work, and chase dreams amid honking horns and the stench of fuel. In Lagos, chaos is the foundation, and adaptability is a survival skill. Jakarta, Indonesia, a sinking capital, literally and figuratively. Jakarta is one of the fastest sinking cities in the world, nearly 25 centimeters a year in some areas. Traffic jams last for hours. Floods, heavy rains, and waterlogging are daily occurrences. The drainage system is outdated, and residents live on stilts or floating wooden floors. Yet instead of panicking, people still go to work, shop, and have breakfast beside flooded streets. The city may sink, but its people never will. Kolkata, India, a human river that never stops flowing. Kolkata doesn't run, it flows. Flows with honking, street vendors' chants, footsteps, and weary sighs. As one of India's most crowded cities, it feels like a fast-forward film, everything happening at once. Sidewalks are homes, vehicles become bedrooms, and overpasses serve as temporary living rooms. The streets are hot, dusty, cramped, but no one ever stops. Here, chaos is the blood in the city's veins. If it stops, the city dies. When space runs out, people learn to live in places no one else would call home. And when desperation reaches new heights, so does human creativity. Chongqing, China. The train runs through your sixth-floor apartment. You're asleep, and suddenly an entire train passes through your living room. Sounds like sci-fi? In Chongqing, it's reality. The city's train system runs through a residential building, right through the sixth floor, operating precisely and surprisingly quietly. It's not a joke, but Chongqing's way of adapting to mountainous terrain and urban overload. When there's no land left to build, you build through it. Rooftop homes on shopping malls, high-rise survival strategy. In some Chinese cities, the rooftops of supermarkets and malls are no longer reserved for air conditioners. They've become neighborhoods where real people live, with kitchens, gardens, and even laundry areas. These aren't penthouses, but patched-up shelters for those with no other choice. No land? Then rise to the sky and live there. New York, apartments smaller than a bathroom. In America's most expensive city, you might pay over $2,000 a month for a room just big enough to fit a single bed. No windows, no private bathroom, a wall-mounted desk and a mini fridge under the sink. Welcome to the micro apartment, a tiny home with a huge price tag. Here you don't live in space, you live inside a limit. Hong Kong, monster buildings hiding hell in plain sight. From afar, the towering apartment blocks look like honeycombs, but inside are metal boxes people call coffin homes. They're just wide enough to lie down, no windows, no privacy. Everything, eating, sleeping, laundry, happens within less than 2 square meters, a world hidden behind neon lights and bank towers. Here people don't live, they fold. The Tower of David, Venezuela, an abandoned skyscraper turned survival complex. Once planned as Caracas's new financial symbol, the Tower of David stopped at the 45th floor when Venezuela's crisis hit. But it wasn't abandoned. The poor reclaimed it. Hundreds of families living without stable electricity, no elevators, with handmade wooden stairs and exposed wiring. An airborne city without permits or management, but with grocery shops and even a soccer field. Burj Al Babas, Turkey, a $1 million project turned into a castle graveyard. Hundreds of mini castles were built to attract Gulf billionaires. But the market crashed, funds dried up, and the fairy tale city became a graveyard of speculation dreams. No one lives there. Wind whistles through domes, grass grows between gilded living room tiles. Here, emptiness is built out of marble. Caracas, Venezuela, living beside highways, not by choice, but by necessity. When housing is no longer a right, people create solutions, building shacks beneath overpasses, next to highways, using plywood and plastic tarps. Right under the roads leading to wealthy neighborhoods, lie nameless, addressless communities. You don't need an address when no one's sending you mail. Manila, Philippines, where rooftops double as cemeteries. In some suburbs, the poor live on top of graves. Cemeteries become shelters. Children play among tombstones. Adults cook over marble slabs. Not by choice, but because no land is cheaper than death. The only space left is where the living no longer go. Mumbai, India, people living along walls. Literally. Ever heard of a wall house? In Mumbai, it's real. A long wall by the railway is claimed by families who build huts clinging to it like barnacles on rock. The wall blocks noise, wind, and most importantly, costs nothing. When you have nothing, a wall can be a beginning. São Paulo, Brazil, living in abandoned drainage pipes. In southern São Paulo, many homeless people live inside unburied concrete pipes. They turn them into homes, with blankets, candles, and hope. No windows, no roof, no locks, just a pipe. But at least it's a space of their own. The dark side of the city isn't always underground. It's just across the street, behind a wall, or next to a bus stop. Dubai, UAE. Supercars dying in sand, people fading in the shadows. On one side, Ferraris, Porsches, Lamborghinis abandoned in the desert. Keys still in the ignition, dust covering every inch. They belong to bankrupt businessmen, tourists in debt, who vanished overnight. On the other side of the city, thousands of migrant workers live crammed in labor camps, working 14-hour days with wages and passports held hostage for the price of building a paradise. In Dubai, not all are touched by the light. San Francisco, USA. Tech touches the sky, dignity sleeps on the pavement. Silicon Valley, the place that builds apps changing the world, can't fix. Housing for thousands. Beneath billion-dollar startups are tents, sleeping bags, and people fading between addiction, mental illness, and despair. The most painful contrast? Not everyone is connected. A city of the future where thousands still sleep on the sidewalks of the past. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Rooftop pools and gunfire below. In Rio, luxury villas have infinity pools overlooking favelas like Rocinha. From balconies where champagne is poured, you can hear gunshots, helicopters, and screams from police raids. These two worlds aren't separated by miles, just a few hundred meters, and a few $1 million. In Rio, every drone photo tells a story of inequality. Johannesburg, South Africa. A diamond city with a rusting heart. Johannesburg was built on gold and diamond booms. Its luxury towers and Michelin restaurants still stand. But downtown, abandoned buildings have become urban tombs, occupied floor by the homeless, gangs, and those pushed to society's edge. In Johannesburg, the past was wealth. The present is a fight for survival, level by level. Paris, France. The city of light, but not for everyone. Concord Square, the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées, always shining on postcards. But on the city's edge, the banlieues, poor suburbs, struggle with unemployment, ethnic tension, crime, and lack of opportunity. True Parisians rarely go there. Police go in, but sometimes don't come back out. Paris is beautiful, if you're lucky enough to be on the beautiful side. Perhaps the scariest thing isn't that these terrible places exist on the map, but that they exist right inside what we call developed, civilized, or livable cities. From Dubai's supercar graveyard to homes built beside trains in China, from tents in Silicon Valley to children playing in trash in New Delhi, they all remind us not everyone lives in the same world, even while sharing the same earth. We've walked through cities no one should have to live in, but millions still do, not by choice, but because they have no choice. Will we keep looking away or start seeing these shadows for what they are? Because sometimes to change a city, the first step is to stop pretending it's fine. Have you ever witnessed something similar where you live? Share your story in the comments. If you think this video should reach more people, share it, because light needs to shine where it never has before.